Hi everyone, it's Hope Yoder with Embellish, a division of RNK Distributing, and this is part 3, the last video in the Auto Digitizing Wizard. So if you've not watched video 1 and 2, I recommend that you stop and go watch video 1 and then video 2 and then come back and join me for video 3. So we're going to create this cute little plaque that's embroidered, and so here's where we left off on video 2. Now I do want to show you one little thing that may happen to you sometimes. I want to zoom in on this one little section, and I'm going to deselect 3D. I guess before I do that, in case you need a refresher on where we're going at, I'm making the top of this tile straight, and I've done it to all of the other, let's get off here, I've done that to all of the other tiles, and I just left one for a review. So in order to do this, number one is you're going to zoom in here, and I recommend that you work not in 3D mode. So I'm going to deselect that. And then I'm going to scroll up and I'm going to select the blue tile. And we use this little shape tool that's also found in the edit. But do you notice that it won't let me highlight it? And if that happens to you, here's a quick, easy way to see what's happening. Click on the plus mark, and I actually have two elements in here. I have the circle down here and the outer part of the tile. So the shape tool only works on one object at a time, and inside of color 4 there's actually two objects. So this is an easy fix. I'm going to click on the select tool, and then I'm just going to select the part I want to edit. I can't have two things selected at the same time. Now notice how this shape tool appears again. I'm going to left click and drag my mouse around all of those points I want to delete so that I can make the top of my tile straight. Then I right click and I left click on delete points and select enter on my keyboard so it fills it in with stitches. And now when I'm done, I have all of my tiles. So I'm going to clean up my workspace here, and I'm going to right click and left click on collapse all and move my mouse to clean up both surfaces. All right, so over here we've got our tiles. Everything looks great. I'm going to go back to show you what we're going to end up looking like. So step number 1 is let's draw that little curvy line, and then let's rotate our tiles. So let's go back here. I am going to zoom out a little bit so I can see, and then scroll up. And first thing I think I need to do is just get my tiles arranged however I think I'm going to have them. And of course I'm going to tilt them and do all those easy fun things. But for right now I just need to see about how long I want my line. So they're not in any particular order. And then I'm going to zoom out one more time. And let's just kind of scroll over here. All right. Now, to create a line, you're going to open your design or your artwork tab. And I actually use this curve line. And this is so easy to use. I'm going to left click, and then I'm going to left click here and left click and left click and left click. And now to end my line, I'm going to right click. And so I've got a little line here. And you know what? My line doesn't look that great. So let's come back to see what that line looks like. That's much smoother. So I can do a couple things. Let's try it again. And it may take you a couple times to get a better line. I think that's going to look better. So I clicked 1, 2, 3 times, and then I right click to draw my line. So let's kind of come in here to see what that looks like. Now, if I want to change that line, I can select it, and I can use that same shape tool to try to make it a little bit different. And I like that. So to finish, I'm just going to click my select tool. And right here, this line is actually, let's go over into our sequence window, and if you look at the bottom right of my screen, it says 0 under stitches. This is not embroidery thread yet, it's just artwork. So I'm going to just click on this box and make it a little longer. All right, I think that's going to be long enough. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert that to a line, and I'm going to change it to a different color. I can right click to tidy all this up, and I'm going to select that line. Now I'm going to close all my drawers and open the convert drawer, and I'm going to convert this artwork line into run stitches. And when I do that, over on the right side of the screen, now under sequence, you'll see 154 stitches I generated with one click of the mouse. All right, so let's change that line. And so it's a bean stitch, which is a heavy reinforced back and forth stitch. To do that, I'm going to click on Properties. I'm going to click in the type, and then a drop-down menu appears. So I have single run. I'm going to keep the single run, but now I'm going to click in the standard box so that a drop-down menu happens. I'm going to select bean, and I'm going to select 5, and then to change that, I'm going to select apply. And so that gave me a heavy reinforced stitch. If we go back to the sequence view, I had 500 stitches, and now I'm up to 686 stitches, and that's going to make me have this really nice line. All right, let's add our tiles. And so I can kind of add my tile here. And let me just zoom in a little bit closer for you to see. So I can select this tile, and then I can rotate the tile in the sequence view. I'm going to actually select this, and then in the properties window, I can delete it to any angle I want, and it's the last option there. So if I say 10 and apply, it rotates. Now, if you own Craft and Cut software, you'll notice you have these little shortcuts, and here's another way that you can rotate the tiles, and it just is a little quicker. And so I'm going to go ahead and zoom out, and I'm going to use my little shortcut rotate tool, and let's go the other way. And I'm just going to kind of do this fast because this could take quite a long time to just tweak it the way that you want it. And you can see what I mean. You can really get crazy with getting these all right. And then I would zoom in by selecting this magnifying glass and zoom in right here. Now I'm still in the magnifying mode. To get out of that, I would click on the select tool, and then I can drag my little yellow tile down by left clicking and holding and dragging until I get it right where it touches that line. And I would continue to do that for all the other tiles. So let's pretend we've done that. And oh, I can't stand it. It's just as if I was going to embroider this. I've just got to move these down a little bit. All right, now let's go back to look at our finished design. My line is not the same, but it's still going to be really cool. And you can see how I have taken and gotten the tiles so they just sit right on that line. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to digitize these little hearts. And we're going to do it one time and then just copy and paste it 2 times. So easy with Embellish Maker. Let's go back here. And we're going to open our design drawer, and then we're going to open custom shape. And this is artwork that's already drawn for you, and it's free in the program. And so I'm just going to take this little heart, and I am going to make it the size that I want it. And there's no right or wrong for the size. You're just going to get, that looks like that's probably good. And I am going to then zoom in here. All right, now on the sequence window, I'm going to change my heart to a different color. So I'm going to select this little search bar and let's just type in pink. And pink comes up. I'm going to select fine and there's a darker dot around here. Now what I've done is I've just taken that heart and I put it into a different color stop. But it is artwork. And how do we know it's artwork? When you expand it, there's 0 stitches. I'm following the stitch column down. So let's turn it into thread stitches. I'm going to open my convert drawer and I'm going to just click on standard fill. One click of the mouse generates 456 stitches. Now I'm liking that. So I'll do the same thing. I'll rotate him a little bit. And I would zoom in and make him sit right there. Now to copy and paste, we have these little shortcuts. I'm going to click copy once, and then I'm going to click paste. And notice with this expanded, you can see the separate heart. So I will drag him over here. Now I don't need to click on copy again because the heart has already been copied. I'm just going to paste it a third time and then I'm going to drag him down here. All right, and I can take care to line these up however I want. Looking good. Let's go back to our finished image. There you go. Now, super easy, you guys. Let's group this. If I like this, I'm going to select everything and group it. So to select everything, here's a little tip. Select Control on your computer keyboard and the letter A, and that will select everything. And then inside, hover your mouse inside of this box and right click and then group. Or if you look right here, Control plus the letter G will also group everything. So I have this grouped so that now I can just draw a box. And I'm going to select my rectangle and I'm going to just drag a rectangle here. Again, this is artwork. Let me change it to a different color. Let me zoom out. And that looks pretty good. I am going to take this and I want to copy the rectangle. So I'm going to select copy. I'm going to select paste. And the second rectangle is I want it bigger. All right, and now let's align everything. Got 2 rectangles. One will be for the straight stitch and one will be for the rickrack. And I may need to resize these, so let's check it out. I'm going to open my Align drawer and I'm going to select everything by selecting Control and the letter A and choose Center. Actually, that looks pretty good. I think I'm going to leave it just like I have it. Actually, I think I'm going to make this box a little bit bigger by dragging on a corner. Control A to select everything, and I'll center it again. All right, now in the bottom, the first box is artwork, and we know that because there's 0 stitches. The second box has 0 stitches, so let's convert that to something fun. Let's close our drawers and open the Convert tab, and I'm going to choose a straight stitch again, and we're going to do another bean stitch. So we'll select Run. It's generated 561 stitches, but if I click in the type or the style, I can choose Bean and 5 and apply. Actually, on this one, I believe I just did it 3. All right. And when I go back to the sequence, I have 1,333 stitches. And this last one, I'm going to convert to rickrack with one click of the mouse. I'm going to click off so you can see that. And other than changing the colors, let's try black, and we'll turn that black. And here's a little trick. I want to have this be the same teal color. And right now I'm looking at all the colors available to me. On this little mouse, I can choose the palette, and that would be what color threads I'm using. But if I want to know what colors I've already used in the design, I can click on the design, and let's turn this one to aqua. And if we want those little hearts to be all aqua, we can turn those into aqua as well. Now, when I embroider this, you want to think about the way that it's going to stitch. So first of all, I know that I don't need the machine to stop here and stop here to change threads. So what I can do is I can drag this up by clicking, and here I have my hearts, and then I'm going to hold down Control, and I'm going to select my rickrack. And then if I come down here, right now it's color 10 and 11, but if I click on this colored dot, it's going to combine them all into one color stop. All right, I like that. Now let's think about, I think that the rickrack should stitch last. All right, and I am definitely going to do all of these colors. It doesn't really matter what order. If you wanted to get jiggy with it and you wanted this one to stitch first, and then you wanted this peach one to stitch second, and then you wanted this dark blue to be third and fourth, and you have your fifth and your sixth and seventh. There you go. And then you've got your letters and your string. Now look at my finished sample. I actually embroidered the letters and the little string in the same color. So let's be more efficient, and I'm going to hold down Control on my keyboard, and I'm going to select both of these, and I'm going to choose black. And when I do that, I have just reduced these to one color stop. All right, I think I'm good to go. What's the final step? Well, one of the things that you can do is you could add notes. And so for instance, at the very beginning, I'm going to select color 1, and I'm going to right click, and I'm going to add a note before. And I'm going to type myself a note. Fuse fabric with embellish, bold, tear away, and hoop. Now I'm picking Embellish Bold Tearaway because at the top of the screen I have 32,000 stitches in here. I'm going to select OK. And down here, before I stitch color 9, I am going to tape Deco Magic to the back of my hoop with Embroidery Perfection tape so that I have a solid foundation for this little wall hanging. And before I stitch color 9 and 10, I'm going to change my bobbin to a Quilter Select pre-wound bobbin, or use our flawless thread in the bobbin. So I'm going to select color 9, and I'm going to add a note to myself. And I'm going to click on Add Note, and I will say after. And I'll type in anything I want, like before embroidering color 9, tape Deco Magic to the back. And I'll say place fusible side against the stabilizer. Now there is no spell check, let me warn you. But this is just a note for me, so it's okay if I have a humorous typo. There we go. And then this last one, I might add a note after that says fuse on both sides when done, and then rotary cut 1 inch outside of the black line. And that's what I did to finish my sample. And those notes are going to show up in the software, but let's do the final step. Let's go under the file, and we want to do a print preview so we can see those notes. And if you notice on the right side of my screen, those notes appear in the PDF. Now, this design is bigger than a sheet of paper, so it's not going to be to scale. If I wanted to title it, I would put settings in here, and it remembers the last thing that you titled it. And I'm just going to put video delete me and click OK. And right here I can print this so that I have directions, because sometimes when I digitize a design, it may not be the same day that I test it out and I can't remember what my thoughts were. I'm sure that doesn't happen to you guys, but it does to me. And if I like this design, then I'm going to save it as the native format. So under File, I'll choose this little disk and I'll put delete me. And I didn't spell that right. Oh goodness, D-E-L-E-T-E, me. Now you're going to name it whatever you want, but you're going to keep this as a WAF, because when I stitch this out and I come back, maybe I want the box to be bigger. And looking behind me on the screen, I can see my box isn't the same size. The black one is the rickrack. So I'm probably going to want to change that. So I want to be able to edit it without having to start all over. I'm going to choose Save. Now there's no embroidery machine on the market that can embroider a WAF file. That's your working file. You want to be careful never to save over it. And that file would allow you to do something like this. Oh, I don't like the rickrack. Maybe I just want to convert it to a satin stitch. Then in one click of the mouse, I could actually just convert this to a satin stitch or to something else. Now, what do we do to save it? I'm going to choose File and Save As, and I need to choose the embroidery format that my machine requires. So whatever format that is, you're going to save it there and put that file onto your USB stick and put the USB stick into your embroidery machine.